Hi, my name is Nick Scarvin, and I did my project on the Tett Offensive. I guess the first thing I should probably tell you about is, what is Tett? Tett is the Vietnamese New Year. It is our 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year smashed into one thing. During the Vietnam War, there was usually a ceasefire between the Viet Cong and NVA, who were fighting the U.S. and the South Vietnamese soldiers, and there's usually during this national holiday between North Vietnam and South, there was usually a ceasefire. When and where did it happen? It happened on January 30th, 1968. It took place in South Vietnam. It was roughly about 100 cities, villages, towns, fire bases, as they were called, were attacked by the NVA, the North Vietnamese Army, and the Viet Cong. Who started it? Well, it was a large-scale military offensive from the North Vietnamese Army and the Viet Cong guerrillas. The Viet Cong were also called, by the U.S., they were called Charlie. These guerrillas were South Vietnamese communists who banded together and who were farmers that banded together, and one day they'll be out doing poppy seeds and whatnot, and the next day they'll be planting a booby trap. And that's who they were. Now, what this whole thing is about, how did it affect us, the U.S.? Well, the offensive was really the turning point in the war. This is when we started to lose. This was the beginning of the end, essentially, for the United States in this war. Even though that our troop numbers were at an all-time high compared to the rest of the conflict. As you can see at this map here, all these little red explosion-looking things were the places that were heavily affected. And since we were mostly fighting the North Vietnamese, as you can see, a lot of the action was happening down here. And that was mainly because the Viet Cong would cross the border out of Vietnam and into Cambodia and Laos, where we could not go until very much later. And another effect is it kicked up Nixon to run for president. This was one of the main things that said, all right, I just need to get in here and run for president. And yeah, that was my presentation. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And, hope you all have a good one.